Hey everybody, it's Chris here. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. For some of us who just woke up, I know I did. I just got out from a nap and had a long day, and I might have a long evening. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Life's good for me. It's very abundant. I always have things to do, and I always have, I'm always hanging out with people, which is great too. It's my favorite thing to do. Really, is to hang out with people. But once in a while, I need an extra nap, and today was that day. So, all right, well, let's get started. Today is June 3rd. We're still reading our daily reflections, and it says, on a wing and a prayer. We then look at step 6. We have emphasized willingness as being indispensable, and that's straight out of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 76. Steps 4 and 5 were difficult but worthwhile. Now I was stuck on step 6. And in despair, I picked up the big book and read this passage. I was outside praying for willingness when I raised my eyes and saw a huge bird rising in the sky. I watched it suddenly give itself up to the powerful air currents of the mountains, swept along, swooping and soaring. The bird did things seemingly impossible for mortal birds to do. It was an inspiring example of a fellow creature letting go to a power greater than itself. I realized that if the bird took back his will and tried to fly with less trust on its power alone, it would spoil its apparent free flight. That insight granted me the willingness to pray the 7-step prayer. It's not easy to know God's will in each circumstance. I must search out and be ready for the currents, and that's where prayer and meditation help. But I am of myself nothing. I ask God to grant me the knowledge of His will and the power and courage to carry it out today. Wow. So, 2 things talking about. It's talking about trust and talking about letting go. Which, pretty much, if you don't trust, you can't let go. And if you didn't let go, then you don't have trust yet. And that's okay, because to me, in my opinion, that's what the program is about. It's about trust. It starts on 1 and it goes all the way to 12, right? Do you trust me? Do you trust me enough to be able to admit that you're alcoholic? Do you trust me enough to be able to tell me, as a sponsor, or as a friend, as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, that your life is unmanageable? Well, do you trust anybody with that information, right? And if you don't, I get it. And if you sometimes do, sometimes don't, I get that too. Because at step 1, if you're like me, you're not even sure what you're getting into, right? Step 2 says, came to believe that our power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, right? So when I first got here, they didn't tell me I had to believe in anything. They taught me how to pray, right? They didn't tell me how to believe in anything. They taught me how to pray. So we have the 3rd-step prayer, the 7th-step prayer, the Serenity prayer. We do the Our Father sometimes, and then a whole bunch of other prayers in between. Anger prayer, prayer, resentment prayer. I mean, like, there's a whole ton of them in between the lines in between the black and white of this book, right? So the other day I was in a meeting and I was like, step 2. We were reading how it works, right? And in how it works, it says, after it reads all the steps, right, the 1 through 12, it says, being convinced, we are now at step 3. So step 2 says that, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Well, maybe by then, who believes in God? I know I didn't. I mean, I knew He was out there, but I thought He wasn't for me. So to me, what rang true for me in that meeting was, step 2 is the steps. Is that if we're convinced, if this works, if we're willing to put our trust, if we're willing to put our lives on a power greater than ourselves, which in this case is the steps, then we're ready to go to step 3. So for me today, the step 2 as a beginner is just the steps. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Well, if you're to say no, you probably don't trust. Either 1, you're not ready, or 2, you don't trust this program yet. That's okay. Nobody does in the beginning. As a matter of fact, this program doesn't even guarantee you a spiritual awakening to step 12. So if at step 2 you're still not sure, I get it. But for me, it was like the further and further along that I got, and I relaxed. So I had this grip on life, right? This grip on people, this grip on what people I thought, right? But I thought that I was holding on to life, holding on to hard to people, holding on to things, holding on to material things, holding on to visions, holding on to things so tight that nothing could happen because I was squeezing everything to death. I was choking the life out of them, right? So the steps for me is that one by one, I let go everything that I'm holding on to that no longer serves me, right? So as I go on through to the 12s, I let go completely. And that's how I have my spiritual experience. Just like the bird did. He's talking about the bird flying and soaring. And it was doing things that you couldn't imagine birds seeing. He made the impossible possible by trusting that the wind was going to carry him through. So in step 12, when we come to that realization, then, it's only then that they're asking you that to have a spiritual experience. But with every little step, I believe that I trust more and that I get to let go more because I see results. This program shows results. If I put in the work, I'm going to get something out of it. If I do nothing, then I'm not going to get nothing. If I do it half-assed, then I'm only going to get half the results. So the more that I put into it, the more that I get out of it. So in today's reading, it's talking about 4, 5, 6, and then 7. It's talking about everything. It's talking about all the prayers. Those two very last sentences, like all the prayers that I've been taught since I got here, all in one. The serenity prayer. God, grant me the strength. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That's the serenity prayer. I say it a lot. And when I first got here, I didn't even know there was a serenity prayer. So that was the first thing that Alcoholics Anonymous taught me. And then the Our Father, I'd heard it before, but I didn't really know it word for word. Coming to meetings long enough, and in my meeting, the meeting I started off with, they said it all the time. So I said the Our Father a lot, enough that I memorized it, right? So I know the Our Father today. I could say it today. And so then moving along, those are my early days. And then when I got to step 3, they gave me the 3rd step prayer. It says, I'll read it to you. I have it right here. Sorry. I forget things on these videos. So the 3rd step prayer says, the 3rd step prayer says, God, I offer myself to thee, to be with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Right? Ooh. As God says, relieve me of the bondage of self. Of myself, I am nothing. I need your help. I want to be a testimony to your love, to your power. Take away my difficulties, whatever those difficulties may be. Maybe they're difficulties. Maybe you're stressed about finances. Maybe you're stressed about moving on to the next step. Maybe you're stressed about your probation early on, right? Maybe you've been here for 20 years and you're stressed about your health. Who knows? I don't know what you're stressed about. But when I get stressed, I say the 3rd step. I say the 3rd step prayer. When I'm going crazy up in his head, I say the 3rd step prayer. Why? Because that's what it was suggested to me. It told me, Chris, when you start thinking about that relationship that you no longer have, do the 3rd step prayer. Chris, when you're thinking about how unfair you think you're being treated, do the 3rd step prayer. And it works. It's worked for me for a long time. And I'm going to do the 7th step prayer, and then I'm going to go on to share a little bit about how prayer has changed my life. So the 7th step prayer says, sorry, it's further along here. Into action. So 7th step prayer, I think I know that one. I do say that one a lot. And it says, Father, I am not willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you not remove from me every single defect of character, standing in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. So I'm asking for wisdom. I'm asking for courage. I'm asking for strength. In lieu of, I'm giving it all up. I'm giving you all my life, right? In the 3rd step prayer, I'm giving you everything. What it was, how it's like today, and my future. I'm giving it all to you. And in the 7th, I'm giving you my defects, my good and my bad. All of it, I give it to you. Here's all of me. Do with it what you can. If you can use me, use me. If you need me to be quiet, then help me be quiet. And if you need me to speak up, then help me to speak up, right? Because because we get into Alcoholics Anonymous and we become better people, doesn't mean that that we don't speak up once in a while. That's one thing that I learned. That's one freedom that I got from Alcoholics Anonymous, that I get to speak my truth today. I get to say, hey, you're not going to talk to me like that. Or it's like, hey, well, that's not okay. Or I say, like, you know what? I don't really think you want this program. I say things like that. And I try to do it in a healthy way, right? Because that's all that I mean. I wanna be in a relationship with you in a healthy way. So we're gonna have boundaries. I'd like to communicate if you can. If you don't communicate, we're gonna have problems, right? I get to speak up for myself, and others that I'm in a relationship with can speak up to me. Because today I don't get upset when people tell me things. I don't get upset when I get coached at work. I don't get upset when as much, right? Because I just talked to you about yesterday about what happened about work. A lot of powerlessness going on, right? Everything I work for, I pretty much saw them just tear it all down, and I took it personal, right? But now I'm better. Why? Because I prayed these prayers, and the more that I pray, what prayer has done for me, it has got this situation, it's got this problem, it's got this thing that I'm thinking about, my dreams, my life, my desires, my dysfunction, my toxicity, whatever it is that I have right here. What prayer does, it takes it from here and it gives it to him. It lifts it up. It says, God, here it is. I give it all to you. Everything, good and bad, right? And I was that person that when I first got, I was that person that I used to drink myself to sleep. I used to drink myself till I pass out. I used to drink myself till I fall asleep. And when I got into Alcoholics Anonymous, I had to do something different. I really did. And I asked my sponsor, I was like, I don't know what to do. And she says, well, the Serenity Prayer? And I said, yeah, I think I do. She goes, okay, well, if you don't know it, you're going to learn it. She goes, do you know the Our Father? I said, yeah, I haven't memorized it. She goes, okay, well, you're going to memorize it. You're going to say it enough times tonight that you will memorize it without a doubt. So she said, I want you to go home, and I want you to go to your room, and I want you to say the Serenity Prayer 3 times, and I want you to say the Our Father 3 times, and then the Serenity Prayer 3 times, and then the Our Father 3 times, till you fall asleep. So I'm that person who went from drinking myself to sleep to praying myself to sleep. And things started shifting. People didn't change. But I changed. I got peace of mind. I got clarity. I got hope. I got a program that works. I got inspired. I got motivated. And all I did was pray. That's all that I did. I didn't necessarily know that if I believed in God or not, but I was taking a suggestion. I was so desperate that I was taking suggestions from my sponsor because I wanted to get better. I wanted to feel different. I wanted to not drink today. That's my primary purpose. That's the one thing I do first, is not pick up that drink. Everything else is a result of me not doing that. Prayer, meditation, carrying the message, not picking up a drink, showing up to life, showing up to work, showing up for my friends. I'm overbooked right now. And I don't know what to do, but I'm going to pray about it, right? Because I know prayer changes things. Prayer gives me clarity. And if I don't have clarity, it gives me peace through the moments, right? Because in reality, life is good. Life is good today because I haven't drank. And I don't plan on drinking. And I haven't drank all day. I haven't even thought about drinking. So, it is Friday, so I wanted to just come on here. I really do like spending time with you guys. I really like to do these videos. It's not, just because it's something that I felt that I was moved, that I was led to do, that I was asked to do. So here I am. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know what's going to happen. But I just got to not think about that. I need to keep, that's none of my business. So anyway, so I love you all. Thank you all for listening. If you don't know any prayers, just Google them or look it up. I know you know some prayers. The Serenity Prayer is the easiest one. But there's even It doesn't have to be extravagant. Your prayer does not have to be extravagant. It could be, God help me. God, I don't know what I'm doing. God, teach me. It's so simple. It's so simple. Today, this buddy of mine said, let's pray. Let's pray for my man, I'm sorry, my dogs are loud. There must be a big dog outside. They love big dogs. And screaming children. But I don't hear no screaming children. There's probably a big dog, so I'm sorry about that. That they're out there yelling. And now one's inside. Anyway, hang on with me for a little bit. I know that they're loud. I don't know. I know that they're loud, and that may or may not work today because they're being activated by a dog outside. Anyway, but I do want to say, so today I was with a friend, and she said, I want to pray for my she goes, I want you to pray for my grandfather because he's very ill. And I said, sure, of course, I'll pray. So we get together, and she says, but I want to pray. And I said, okay, absolutely. She goes, let me do the prayer. And I said, okay. And she prayed, and she said, Chris, how did I do it? I said, you did fantastic. And she says, I feel like I don't know how to pray. And I said, your prayer was so childlike, so innocent, so true, that it's probably more powerful than anything extravagant that I can do. Childlike prayers are awesome. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Life is good. I love you guys. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.